Now, last week we got together and you was talking about how everybody wants to shoot stuff with a gimbal. Nowadays we got
that was actually my next point I'm about to bring up.
No,
you brought it up at a perfect time.
Everybody wants to shoot stuff with a gimbal, and I noticed you always have a small jib everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you're shooting, you got a small jib.
Never on a tripod if I can help it, because there's always the potential for movement and adjustment, and there's a lot of micro movements that you can continue to have. I know a lot of cinematographers have started putting things on movies so that they, even when it's a static, it's not static. That like modern cinema is just not static anymore, right? So that's a lot of why gimbals became popular.
Yeah. And I think it got too much into one solution for all. And I think it got into the minds of people thinking this is going to fix everything, the crane, the slider. And, I don't think people realize that the movement is more shown in a wide angle versus a telephoto, because you really don't see your environment move when you're in that sliding shot as much as you do in a telephoto.
I mean, one thing that I can say, we did the gimbal stuff 12 years ago. We had the vest.
Well, that's not a gimbal because
no, it's not a gimbal. But back then they didn't have the gimbals with the whole 3-axis motors.
Yeah,
they had
the Steadicam.
We had the vest. The Steadicam was almost the same thing.
Yeah,
we tested that stuff out. Bro, that stuff was
Steadicam is what they still use in Hollywood. The gimbals is very prosumer kind of like
Well, right now I saw that they're using the whole vest.
Yeah.
With the gimbal on the whole rig.
Yeah.
And I've done
that. I've done that plenty of times with like a crane. Like you put a crane 3 on an arm.
It's almost like a combination of gear.
And a lot of that's not making the crane better. It's just taking the weight and distributing it better.
Gotcha.
That's all that does. Your arms don't have to do all the work.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is, I think the gimbal stands out differently than the Steadicam does, because if you're talking about the one with the vest and it goes up like this, like a pole, and it's got a battery pack at the bottom, that's a Steadicam.
Yeah.
No. We use the Steadicam with the vest. But if
talking like the
the whole vest that we tested out on in Crane's Roots years ago, if we would have put a gimbal on top, it would have helped with the weight, just for holding it for a long period of time, because the gimbal would have did the whole work that without balancing or anything like that. It would have helped for a long time.
Yeah,
it's definitely helpful, and it's a useful tool, especially like if it's motivated. Or, I know that I've been on sets where it's just a way to save time a little bit. Is just I don't have a way to be dynamic, but let me do this. And that's just a cop out a little bit, because movement's supposed to be motivated. There's supposed to be a reason for it.